assuming Bosa is going to be around and that this groin injury is nothing serious, do the 49ers have a better pass rush now than they had last season?
I haven't looked at it from a statistical standpoint, so maybe you know the numbers, but just from me, just watching, I think they do. It just appears that way to me. I think they have a lot more depth, and they have guys that can get after it. I think the guys that are honestly backing up Armstead and Kinlaw, I think Armstead and Kinlaw are great. They're very good at stuff in the run, I think, but the guys that are backing them up are actually better pass rushers than they are. So that could favor well as well. And Drake Jackson, man, he looks phenomenal. I think when that guy gets on the field for Drake Jackson can be pretty damn good, man.
He's really good.
And the pass rush didn't seem to drop off too much without Bosa, It
didn't.
And Bosa's amazing, but I don't know. I know a lot of fans they're gonna think I'm freaking nuts for this one, but I hate signing players to massive contracts from a business standpoint.
Yeah.
From a GM, from the owner. I don't know, man. Bosa's the best pass rusher in the league, but for the money he's gonna get,
yeah.
I don't know.
I think the Niners keep showing that they can moneyball the hell out of the defensive line spot. They can. I mean, it's a rotational position like baseball. You don't have to play guys there 100% of the snaps, and you can get guys who are really good pass rushers but terrible run defenders, and not terrible, but just guys who are specialized, because the ones who can do everything well are really, really expensive. But just for example, what I want to say, this 4-man pass rush they have right now, I think is the best one they've had since Buckner was here, and maybe even better, because I've never really liked Eric Armstead as a pass rusher. He can push the pocket and create havoc for other people, but he very rarely finishes the play. Now, you've got Nick Bosa and Samson Ebukam on the edges, and Charles Omenihu and Drake Jackson inside. Those guys are really tough to block inside. I mean, that's a really good 4-man rush. And what's cool about it is on third down, you can get creative. You can put Drake Jackson on the edge or in the A gap. You can have 3 guys on one side and 1 guy. I mean, there's so many different ways you can line those 4 guys up. And they've had 13 sacks the last 2 games. Yeah, I mean, this injury with Kinlaw and Armstead is almost the silver lining is that they've found their best 4-man pass rush. Yeah. And it's really tough to deal with these 4 guys.
A couple things with that. One thing, the defensive backs are way better, which also helps the D line get more sacks.
True.
So that's a big.
There were at least 2 or 3 coverage sacks in this game.
Yeah.
At least 2, where Baker started running in circles. I'm telling you, he's a lot like Jimmy, and Jimmy's a lot like him. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a big factor. And the other thing is Drake Jackson, I'm telling you guys, man, he is underrated. That guy, he's second among all rookies in sacks with very limited snaps. The guy who's beating him, I forget who it is, but he plays a lot.
Hutchinson.
Yeah, and he plays way more than Drake Jackson. Yeah. And Drake Jackson's second. If Drake Jackson played as much as Hutchinson, he'd be leading the NFL for rookies with sacks right now.
Yeah, and I have a feeling he's going to be playing more and more as the Niners have figured out, who's good. And what's tough about drafting Javon Kinlaw in the first round and giving Eric Armstead an $85 million contract, from DeMeco Ryan's perspective, he's like, I got to play these guys, right? Oh my God, I'm a defensive coordinator. I have to play them on third down. Well, now you're showing the team, Kyle, Jed, everyone, John Lynch, hey man, this is it. This is the 4-man passer. Can I play my best players, please? Please? Yeah. Or do I? I'm just saying. So, DeMeco, good for you.
Yeah.
This is good news for you.
Absolutely.
Ezio says Falcons, Chiefs, Rams, Chargers, Cardinals, and Saints are the next 6 upcoming games. If we go at least 4-2, we should be 7-4. With that record, I think we can be considered a contender. Thoughts? Yes. And I think what's nice about this, the way things are breaking, we overestimated how difficult the schedule was. It was actually very easy to start. And we overestimated how good the division is. It's a terrible division. The Niners should win it, and they just might end up – they probably should have a home game in their first playoff game. That's very good. Because the reason that they had so many away games in a row last year, they inevitably were going to fall apart at the end of one of them, and they did.
Yeah, I think outside of catastrophic injury, I don't see how the 49ers don't make the playoffs. And like you said, the NFC West looks the weakest it's been in years. So the 49ers should be able to win the NFC West, and they should be able to get some home games. So,
what's the worst team in the NFC West right now?
What'd you say?
What's the worst team in the NFC West right now?
I mean, shit. I thought it was the Seahawks. Excuse my language. I thought it was the Seahawks coming into the season. But honestly, they're playing pretty good, man. It might be the Rams.
It might be the Rams.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hard to say.
They got dog walked by 3 teams already this year, so it's not looking good for them.
The Cardinals are interesting because they it seem like they underperformed to their talent level, and they give away games. They gave away the game yesterday to Philly, but they went toe-to-toe with Philly, which is 5-0. So I don't know. The Niners have some problems. I'd like to see what happens when they face Arizona, because they've struggled with Arizona in the past.
And the other
That's the team that can
we
get in
thought
trouble.
we thought the 49ers schedule was really tough coming into the season, and now it's not looking tough at all.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, not yet.
No.
Omari's World says D-line with Bosa, Buckner, Armstead, and Ford. I mean, Ford was never healthy that year. Buckner was great. Armstead did have a lot of sacks that year. I don't know how that happened. That's such a fluke. I'm sorry. I don't know how that happened. Yeah, maybe. But I really Drake Jackson is just scratching the surface of what he's going to be. Charles Omenihu is, I think, every bit as good as Arden Key, if not better.
Ebukam is amazing.
Ebukam's really good. I don't know. And just the fact how well they played even after Bosa was out shows you how good they are, how legit this is. Yeah. What if the Seagulls beat the Lambs? That's what we're saying. I think that could happen. The Rams, every time I look at the Rams, it's a highlight of Matthew Stafford drops back, fakes the handoff, turns around. Oh, he's hit by 4 people immediately. Like, yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, Matt Stafford looks awful.